Now I'm on my way. Anyone come to see me this day? Tell them I'll be gone for the day. I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. On this lovely day. Finding my bliss. Why my soul chose Jamaica. People ask me why I chose Jamaica, but the truth is, I didn't. Jamaica chose me. There's a fire in my bones I've carried since birth, and when I felt Jamaica's heartbeat for the first time, I recognized it. Long before I landed on Jamaican soil, I felt it calling me. Not as a tourist, not as a guest, but as someone who carries stories, struggles, and a purpose that somehow align with the rhythm of the island. This episode isn't just about travel. It's not just a trip. It's about remembering. It's about destiny, born of rebellion, of survival, of unspoken strength. It was something deeper. My soul just knew that there's something about this island, this people, this spirit that reflects something in me. In this video, I will invite you inside my mind, into the way I see the world. I don't just walk through life, I listen to it deeply. I notice patterns in what most people overlook. Words don't just carry meaning, they carry messages. A song lyric might strike a nerve, a symbol might reflect exactly what I'm feeling, a random event might hold a deeper invitation. For me, this is more than coincidence. It's synchronicity, a living dialogue between me and the universe. My brain is wired to make connections between images, sounds, moments, even slip-ups in speech. I read the world like a map, a coded guide. And somehow, it always ties back to where I am, what I'm moving through, and where I'm being called. This journey I'm about to share, the pull to relocate, the path to Jamaica, is full of these signs. Of moments that spoke louder than logic. So as you watch, I invite you to see with me, not just with your eyes, but with your inner vision. Because when you really start listening to life, you realize it's always speaking. Let me take you back to the year of 1997, my first day at school in 4th grade. My teacher gave us a new notebook to use every day for the rest of that school year, and we got to choose what we wanted to draw on the front page. As you can see, I drew the Jamaican flag, and on top of that, the Rasta flag, and I put a peace mark sticker in the middle. I was 10, not knowing it was Jamaica's flag. For those who know about the universal laws of visualization, attraction, and creation, know that that's where my Jamaican story started to take physical form. And now, let's jump to 1993 and 2003. From a very young age, I was surrounded by the rich beauty of African culture because my best friends were of African heritage. We spent so much time together every day for years that their skin tones, hairstyles, and facial features became as familiar and natural to me as my own reflection. It wasn't just appearances. I grew up immersed in their language, their vibrant culture, their music, and even the delicious smells of their food and spices. All these elements created a deep sense of comfort and belonging for me. It felt like home, as if I was part of that world too, not just an observer. It was my normal. Their worth equal to mine. The colors of the Kurdish flag, red, green, and gold, beautifully mirror the Pan-African colors that symbolize strength, life, and hope. Growing up, these colors always felt familiar and like home to me, a part of my own story. Even more striking is how the map of Africa, when slightly rotated, closely resembles the shape of Kurdistan. This visual similarity deepened my sense of connection between these two rich cultures and histories. It's as if two distant lands share a silent bond, reminding me of the unity and shared resilience in our journeys. Raised with the story of my Kurdish people, where resistance and injustice is a part of everyday life, I've carried the zest for freedom within me since birth. Then came 5th grade history class. We opened our books and were told about a man named Christopher Columbus. They called him a discoverer. They called him a hero. But the images told a different story. What I saw was like a punch in my stomach. Starving, chained people, stolen lives. I immediately said, that's a lie. He didn't discover anything. People were already living there. And what made me even more angry was how they kept calling the people he met Indians. Columbus didn't discover anything. He got lost, looking for a sea route to India. And even after they realized this land wasn't India, They still kept calling the native people Indians. Not just then, but for over 500 years, even now. That's not just ignorance, that's arrogance. It's disrespectful, and people should be ashamed for forcing that lie into our schools, into our language, and into our minds, especially when the truth is right in front of us. I didn't discover my rebel spirit that day, but that day confirmed it. It reminded me that my fire for justice wasn't just for my own people, it was for all people. Now let me take you back to 2003, the year I was introduced to the cannabis culture, reggae music, and Rastafari. Reggae music was the primary reason I chose Jamaica. As a singer, music has always flowed through my veins. It's my first language, my truth. Acoustic soul and reggae have always been at the core of my sound, so it felt only natural to go to the homeland of reggae to reconnect with that essence. I remember the first time reggae truly spoke to my soul. It was back in 2003. Something shifted in me. I heard it with new ears, and it felt like the music was reaching into places I didn't even know needed healing. From that moment, reggae became part of my blueprint. How my path through cannabis and Rastafari rooted me in nature. I was 16 when I first encountered cannabis, not as a party drug, but as a doorway. At that time, I didn't have words for what I was searching for, but I knew there was something missing in the way the world was presented to me. Fast, synthetic, and disconnected. It wasn't just about getting high. There was a stillness, a slowing down. I started noticing the breeze, the trees, and the sound of my own breath. Cannabis became less of a thing to do and more of a presence. A plant spirit that softened my edges and invited me to look inward. While others around me were drawn into pills, powders, and plastic pleasures, I felt anchored in nature. Cannabis showed me beauty in what's real. It became clear that synthetic highs had no soul. I wasn't interested in escaping, I was craving connection. The plant and the teachings around it protected me. At 16, I met a plant and a path. I didn't know then how deeply it would shape me. But now, years later, I see that it was the beginning of my return to myself, to nature, and to truth. And for that, I give thanks. Around the same time, I started hearing the words of Bob Marley. The sight of red, green, and gold waving with pride was already familiar to me through the Kurdish flag I've proudly waved since birth. Rastafari wasn't a religion to me, it was a vibration. It spoke to something essential in me, a naturalness, a way of seeing the world through love, roots, and resistance to illusion. I don't want to claim that I am a Rasta rooted in religion with all its aspects, although I would say that I am a Rasta at heart, with its grounding natural guidances and principles. Because I believe the path of truth doesn't belong to any one name, but Rastafari is part of my root system. It taught me to see the divine in the earth, to trust my natural self, to live simply and to question the system that tells us otherwise. It's in my breath. As I deepened my journey, one figure stood as a lighthouse. His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, not as a distant icon, but as a living embodiment of dignity, wisdom, and divine purpose. His presence in the Rastafari livity was something I came to deeply respect. I was already familiar with him through my Ethiopian friends, but not as a leader for Rastafari, but for Ethiopia. There's a quote from him that struck me like lightning the first time I read it, and it still roots me today. Spirituality is the essence of man's being. Religion is a set of rules designed to lead man to spirituality. Unfortunately, due to the imperfections of man, religion has often become a stumbling block rather than a bridge to spirituality. Those words cracked open something inside me. I realized that my connection to the Most High didn't need a building, a title, or a system. It was already within me. Spirituality is our birthright. It's how we return to nature, to truth, and to love. What he spoke was not exclusion, it was liberation. Rastafari reminded me of that essence, not as a box to fit into, but as a call to live aligned with the divine order of creation. The respect for the earth, the understanding of self, the wisdom passed through words, sound, and power, all of it pointed me back to my natural self. The self that knows the Most High without needing permission. In the Rastafari flag, the green marks the lush vegetation and the deep bond with the earth. Gold represents Africa's wealth, the sun, and the enduring hope of the movement. Red echoes the blood of ancestors, strength, and divine spirit. And the lion is strength, power, and leadership. And in the Kurdish flag, the white stands for peace and equality. The red honors the marchers whose blood was shed in the struggle for freedom. The green reflects the natural beauty, life, and resilience of the land. And the gold represents shining from the sun and symbolizes the source of life and the Kurdish New Year. Just seeing these flags side by side feels like a silent awakening to me. The same colors carrying the same meanings. The bloodshed for freedom, the life and vitality, the sun, hope and abundance, peace at their core, resilience in their roots, and an unbreakable spirit in their stories. Now let me share some fun facts. I grew up in a family of 4 siblings, but only I was called the lion by my father. He saw something in me, strength, courage, and wisdom. And from that moment, I carried that name like a silent roar inside me. I didn't know it then, but that simple name would become a lifelong compass, shaping how I walked, how I talked, and how I handled every challenge thrown my way. I wasn't just Sion, I was Sion the lion. And when I was 11 years old, I found out that Sion is also the name of a majestic mountain range in Russia. So now I saw myself not only as the lion, but as a mountain too. Steady, grounded, and ancient. When I later on learned that in Rastafari, Zion is also a mountain, a sacred place of refuge and spiritual alignment, the circle completed itself. Suddenly, my name wasn't just a name. It was a bridge between strength and stillness, between earth and spirit. Now here is where it gets wild. You see, in my native language, Kurdish, the word reggae literally translates to the path. And the word Rasta translates to the right. And then when you put them together, reggae Rasta, it equals the right path. So while I was rekindling my love to reggae in Jamaica, my own mother tongue was whispering, yes, you're exactly where you're meant to be, on the right path. This wasn't coincidence. This was confirmation, what I call divine alignment. Later on, when reggae came into my life and I frequently heard Zion, to me, I heard my own name being called. Zion! Zion! The way it rolled through the speakers, into my ears, through my bones, straight into my soul. And when I heard Bob Marley sing, like a lion in Zion, it felt it wasn't just a lyric, it was my name, as if universe was calling me. Even my friends and students started calling me Sion Lion, and it stuck since. It wasn't forced, it was natural, a rhythm my soul already knew. Today, I walk with my name as a mantra. I am the lion, I am the mountain, I rise in strength, I stand in peace, I hear my name in the winds of Zion, a call to walk with purpose, a call to lead with love. This name, this journey, this music is no accident, it's divine alignment. And of course, I had to find the signs in the name of the island. You see, when I hear Jamaica, I hear 2 sounds, Ja and Meka. I hear them as Ja, as in the creator or creation, and Meka as a short for maker, as in someone who's creating. So for me, the name Jamaica makes total sense for me as a location to consciously create livity, a natural connection. Let us revisit the year of 2018, the year when I touched Jamaican soil for the first time, where my music was rekindled and when I learned about the cultural similarities the Kurdish people and the Maroons have. After my first year abroad, I met a lady in Costa Rica who directed me to Jamaica as a given location for my reggae music. I'll always remember my first spoken words on Jamaican soil. A man at the airport asked me, "So what are you doing here?" And without hesitation, I smiled and answered, "I'm a singer. I'm here to create reggae music." It felt so natural, so real. And in that moment, I knew this was my spark being lit. Jamaica wasn't just a destination, it was my creative rebirth. Unknowingly, I booked my very first night in Jamaica at a guest house in Trenchtown. First street, first house, right next door to the legendary Bob Marley culture yard. I had no idea what that meant at the time, but looking back, it was the perfect introduction. I ended up staying for a full week. The people of Trenchtown welcomed me like family from the very first moment. They showed me around, shared their stories, their spirit, and their music. After that, hearing "In a government yard in Trenchtown" just hit different. I even got the blessing to pitch in on a song with Ziggy Soul, may his soul rest in peace, in the old Whaler studio. A moment I'll remember forever. So big up to Miss Sophie, Orain, Cash, Mr. Stoneman, and the rest of the Trenchtown family. You gave me more than hospitality. You gave me a home and a living lesson in what Jamaican spirit truly is. Roots, love, music, strength, and family. After an 8-year creative silence, it was in Jamaica, in 2018, that I wrote my first song. That moment was deeply inspired by and dedicated to the Jamaican people, their spirit, their energy, and their resilience. Something about being in Jamaica unlocked something in me. I'll share the full story of the birth of that song in a separate video. And when I finally set foot on Jamaican soil, I looked up the Jamaican flag, and there it was, the flag I had on the front page of my notebook in 4th grade. And the colors spoke again. The Jamaican flag carries its own beautiful truth. Green stands for hope in the island's lush vegetation and agricultural resources. Gold represents the sun and the country's natural wealth. And black symbolizes the strength, struggles, and creativity of the Jamaican people. And just like that, the thread was complete. 3 flags, 1 spirit. Different stories, same heartbeat. Colors that carried the same message. Hope, strength, sacrifice, sunlight, the earth, the people, the struggle. It felt like the world was showing me I was always meant to find this land. Not because I was leaving something behind, but because I was returning to something that had been calling me all along. And then we have the maps. And it hit me. In my eyes, Kurdistan looked like a blend. A beautiful fusion of both Jamaica and Africa. As if the land itself was echoing the connection I've always felt in my spirit. A connection through struggle. When I began learning about Jamaica's history, I was deeply moved by the story of the Maroons. Fierce, freedom-loving people who escaped slavery and built their own sovereign communities in the mountains. They didn't just survive, they resisted. They protected their culture, their land, and their dignity with everything they had. It reminded me so much of my own people, the Kurdish Peshmerga. For generations, they've defended our mountains and our identity, standing strong against oppression from powerful regimes. Both the Maroons and the Peshmerga are warriors of the land. Both knew the terrain better than any enemy. Both fought not for conquest, but for freedom, for family, and for their right to exist in peace. They are more than fighters. They are symbols of endurance, of identity, and of unbreakable spirit. As I explored deeper, I found echoes between the history of Jamaica and the history of my own Kurdish homeland. On one side of the world, Queen Nanny of the Maroons, a warrior and strategist who led her people through the hills to defend their freedom, and Marcus Garvey, whose vision for black pride and self-reliance ignited generations. And on the other side, Queen Khanzad, known for her superior guerrilla techniques, defended Kurdish territory with intelligence and fire. And Öcalan, who became a powerful voice for Kurdish rights, identity, and resistance. Across time and continents, their stories might be different, but the spirit behind them is deeply aligned, burning the same fire. Whether in the Caribbean hills or the Kurdish mountains, their legacy carries the same core truths. All 4 of them fought for freedom and self-rule, drew their strength from cultural identity, balanced strategic leadership with community purpose, became symbols of empowerment and resilience. All these stories leads up to the present moment, 2025, and my relocation to Jamaica. Reconnecting mind, body, and soul through natural methods. One of the most important reasons I chose Jamaica is the way the environment itself supports natural healing and vibrant living. In Sweden, I was constantly battling the cold, and it showed in my body. My joints were stiff, my energy was low, and I often felt disconnected from the natural rhythm of life. But in Jamaica, the warmth here doesn't just feel good, it heals. The sun, which is so often hidden in the north, is ever present here. And that light, that heat, it softens my body. It energizes my cells, and it supports my nervous system in ways I can actually feel on a daily basis. And then there's the food. Real, sun-ripened, local food. Fruits and plants that grow from rich Jamaican soil, nourished by the same sunshine that nourishes me. These aren't just ingredients, they're medicine. And for someone committed to living a high vibrational natural lifestyle, being surrounded by this kind of abundance isn't just luxury, It's a necessity. Jamaica offers me a deep sense of alignment with nature, with my own biology, and with the life I've chosen to create. Here, I'm not working against my environment to be well. I'm flowing with it. Let me share some final thoughts about authenticity and belonging. For 31 years, I wandered this earth carrying a fire that often felt too bright for the rooms I was in. Too loud, too proud, too confident, too alive, too spicy, too much of everything. But for the first time in this earthly life, I feel like I belong. Like my spice, my rhythm, and my fire isn't too much. It's just right. You see, in Jamaica, I don't have to shrink to be accepted. I don't have to dim to be respected. Here, I can just be. Fully, freely, and authentically me. So if you've ever felt like you were too much, you've probably just been in the wrong room. So keep shining, keep searching, keep being you, because one day you'll find a place or a people that remind you you were never too much. You were just waiting to align with the right frequency. So it's not about escape, it's about return. Returning to myself, to a frequency I've always carried but never fully lived in until now. So now you know, this isn't just a coincidence, not a vacation, not an escape. It's my soul answering the rhythm it always knew. It's in the language, the music, the struggles, and in the smiles. I see fragrance of myself mirrored back, and for the first time, I finally feel whole. Jamaica didn't just welcome me, it recognized me. The fire in my bones met the fire of the island, and together, they dance. So when people ask me, why Jamaica? I say, because this land didn't just open its arms, it opened a portal to my truth. And this is just the beginning of walking in alignment with my purpose. You see, I didn't choose Jamaica. Jamaica chose me. And I chose to say yes. Until next time, thank you for watching. And as always, with sprinkles of light.